Alright, spoiler alert. I did not sit there and watch this movie. When I saw the trailer, I wasn't interested. The trailer didn't look too bad. It's just that the person who they picked to lead this role, I don't mind her in some supporting roles, but when it comes to a role like this, you need a woman who's believable and is attractive. Lately, Hollywood has been sitting there picking these women that are just well past their prime, and they're just unattractive in roles that should have attractive women. You know, they did that in Borderlands 2 with Lilith, when they picked like a 50-something-year-old woman to play this part. They did with Tannis in that movie, when they picked Jamie Lee Curtis, of all people, to play that part. Listen, Hollywood, stick with younger, attractive women who are adults, but young, attractive women that everyone's going to want to see. Because this movie is more geared towards men than it is women, if we're being honest.
This movie, very important for me, is that we don't have a lot of action movies with a female badass hero, let alone a woman of color.
You know I've had to work twice as hard to get here. Why do you need to make it harder?
Prime Minister Everett won't have your back at the G20. He's never liked strong women.
Ladies,
I'd rather go and be led by you than stay and be annoyed by him.
I wanted to look like I actually could take down someone.
She's kind of a badass.
Man, I haven't even watched the movie, and that part was hard to get through. There's those clips. It's not even believable. No one actually believes that this woman is a badass. You sit there, and just because she has that stone cold look on her face doesn't mean nothing. Okay, and you can already tell this movie, I guarantee you, is just gonna bash men. And again, she's not attractive. No one's gonna want to stare at a screen for like an hour and a half to 2 hours looking at a woman that's supposed to be a believable badass and is unattractive. Okay, go look at that ballerina movie. That movie is gonna do phenomenally, like amazingly well. Not just because it's in the John Wick universe. That has a lot to do with it. And Keanu Reeves is gonna garner a lot of attention. But the thing is, that girl right there, she is very attractive. She's one of the most beautiful women in the world. Okay, I remember her from previous movies, and she always was super attractive. But if you wanted a woman of color that could have been a badass, there were so many better options you could have picked. You could have picked Halle Bailey. Okay, yeah, you can say what you want about The Little Mermaid, but no one can deny that she is a very beautiful woman. You could have also picked Dominique Thorne. She would have been a great choice. You could have sat there and picked Yari Shaheda. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but you know what? She's a very beautiful woman. You could have picked Sierra McLean, another beautiful woman. Marisa Martin, another beautiful woman. You got Sky Jackson, a great woman. Storm Reed, very beautiful. You could have picked Lyric Ross, another beautiful woman. You could have sat there and picked Zendaya. Okay, well, maybe not Zendaya. Okay, we all know that there's no way that Zendaya will ever be believable in a badass role. You could have picked the girl that was in Black Panther 2 that took over as Black Panther. She would have been a better choice. I mean, you had so many options that you could. If you really wanted to have a badass woman hero that's a woman of color, you could have picked a good choice. Why did you pick a woman pushing 50 who's unattractive and past her prime?
You know, dear friends, some movies are more difficult to review than others. The easiest are the really good or bad ones. The hardest are the mediocre ones. That won't be a problem in this case, because Amazon's G20 is both hilariously awful and awfully hilarious. And if there's still a couple of people hanging on out there wondering why Amazon studio head Jennifer Salke got fired, don't. Because following Netflix's release of Daisy Ridley's The Cleaner, which is essentially female Die Hard, Amazon decided to follow up with one of their own. That's right, 2 DEI hards in 2 months. Yes, it's part Die Hard, part Air Force One, part globalist propaganda, and all feminist power fantasy fanfic. Don't believe me? This comes from the paragon of objective journalism, The Daily Beast. G20, Viola Davis plays Kamala Harris, I disagree there, in a Die Hard movie, where the reviewer says it's a wish fulfillment saga for a post-2024 present that didn't come to pass. It's a fantasy of feminist and US might that's chock-a-block with implausibilities. When I'm agreeing with The Daily Beast, it's confirmation that we are living in strange times. And to head you all off the past, no, Viola Davis isn't playing a stand-in for Kamala Harris. G20 went into production in January of 2024, well before Kamala was installed as a candidate, and it's from an original script script that was obviously changed, written in 2015.
The script came to
I am so glad that Amazon fired that woman. And honestly, I don't think anybody wonders why that woman got fired, because she literally picked a washed up woman like this as the lead person. Like I said, this movie would have been so much better if they just would have picked an attractive woman. Now, when it comes to the writing, you could tell in that beginning part of that he sat there and clipped all those scenes together, you were able to tell that this movie was nothing but a woke femboss movie. With the writing, you definitely will know that this is bashing men, putting men behind the line. You know it. Come on. Everyone's going to know it.
me in 2015, and I was like, I'm taking it.
Simply put, it's Michelle Obama versus the anti-globalist crypto bro terrorist, set to the backdrop of a Wakanda-like South Africa.
Diplomatic community.
That feels like it was written by Klaus Schwab, Greta Thunberg, and Mark Ruffalo, and it has so many panning establishing shots. I thought this was directed by Spotswood from Team America. If Amazon's creators had leaned into the parody that G20 unintentionally became, it would have been a better film, but I'm still happy with what we got. Because whether Amazon likes it or not, so far, this is the #1 comedy of the year.
Come on, Madam President.
Oh, damn. Now we gotta go save the world.
We're 20 most powerful world leaders together. Going dark in 3, 2, 1.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
As far as stories,
Okay, let me get this straight. You got Anthony Starr. For anybody who doesn't know who Anthony Starr is, he is Homelander. Okay, no matter what you do, if anybody who hasn't been living under a rock sees this, they're going to associate him with Homelander. So you expect us to believe, and I'm sorry, I said pushing 50. She's 59, so she's pushing 60, or almost pushing 60. So you expect us to believe that a washed up woman like her, who is almost pushing 60, can take down Anthony Starr. Are you kidding me? That is not going to happen. Like I said, you could have went with Kelly Washington, who's also getting up there in age, but at least she's attractive. That would have been a far better choice than this abomination.
it's pretty typical stuff for these days. A 5'5" strong female protagonist approaching her 60s regularly mows her way through 250-pound white guys. Viola Davis in her follow-up role to The Woman King, where she played a leader of a tribe who totally didn't sell her own people to slavery, plays President Michelle Obama. Anthony Anderson plays her wife Barack Obama. They have only 2 children, but only one that counts, the rebellious tech-savvy daughter, because that's the first time we've seen that this week. After the misunderstood rebellious tech-savvy daughter that we've never seen before in any TV show or film escapes security once again and gets caught drinking, causing an incident in the press, she is forced with her unimportant sibling, who's obviously a boy, to go with her parents to the G20 summit in South Africa.
Diplomatic community.
Where President Michelle Obama, oh, excuse me, one moment. Yes, Garrett?
Her name is Sutton in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, not Obama.
Gotcha, thanks.
Can I get a rate?
Where President Michelle Obama must sell her idea to the G20 leaders of fixing global hunger by providing digital currency to poor farmers in Africa. Well, I guess they won't have to spend any money on the poor South African farmers who are currently having their property stolen right after they're shuffled off this mortal coil. At the G20 summit in Cape Town, South Africa, Homelander, who earlier in the film killed a young woman.
Honestly, you could have put Michelle Obama in there instead of Viola Davis, and that would have been way more believable. For crying out loud, you could have put her daughter that's in the movie right there that we just saw, and that would have been more believable than Viola Davis.
For his super duper crypto wallet, infiltrates a private security team who is set to protect the event. He kills most of the other nation's security, including a U.S. Special Forces assault team that was
barely an inconvenience.
Oh, and we'll get to that. Then Homelander takes down the Wi-Fi, locks down the hotel, and takes the remaining leaders and their families hostage. But the president, a quick-thinking Secret Service agent, a misogynist UK prime minister, and a couple of women whose names I can't be bothered to remember slip away. And the game is afoot as President Michelle Obama must save her wife Barry and their 2 children, of which only one matters, and the world from Homelander and his anti-globalist crypto bros, weaving through an implausible stakes game of dumb cat and dumber mouse. And the only thing more unintentionally hilarious than the actual plot are the characters. And we'll start with the only good one, Ramon Rodriguez as Manny, the dutiful Secret Service agent assigned to protect President Michelle Obama, who thematically is just a stand-in for your average Hollywood personal assistant, except this time he's straight and he has some pretty good scenes. Then there's Vice President Phil Coulson, who's relegated to reacting to things on screens, and early on my money was on this white male to be the one who betrays them.
All right, there's actually no need to keep calling her Michelle Obama. I understand where you're trying to get at, but you're not helping your cause when people say that you're racist on that part. Okay, so there's really no need, and honestly, I think it's disrespecting Michelle Obama because Michelle Obama is actually way more attractive than Viola Davis is. I don't even think Viola Davis was attractive back in her heyday.
Madam President. But it turns out that would be wrong. This brings us to Treasury Secretary Hillary Clinton. And I can hear you now, that's just too ridiculous to be true. Well, it's ridiculous and true. The Treasury Secretary, who's totally not Hillary Clinton and totally not going to be the betrayer, was in line to be the president until Michelle Obama beat her out for the gig. But my personal favorite character, and the only one, quite frankly, that goes on a character arc, is UK Prime Minister Misogynist, who I'm guessing is a stand-in for David Cameron. He goes on the male feminist journey, starting out as an obnoxious man who doesn't respect women to a man who respects women after witnessing through the magic of Hollywood the 5'5", approaching 60 Viola Davis kick the crap out of a 250-pound dude in his 30s. The rest of the cast is round.
You know, it would have surprised me if the person who directed this movie did inspire all these characters off of real life people like this. I would not surprise me whatsoever. But moral of the story is, do better writing, pick better people to fit the roles, and you'll do a lot better. Well, that's it for my reaction. I will link his video down below. I don't feel like keeping going on and on. We got the gist of what this movie's going to be. So if you did enjoy my video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.